All right, what's going on, guys? Try back again, here to bring you another video. This one will be doing sort of an update video, giving our thoughts and explaining Jadis after her appearance in Walking Dead World Beyond. Alright dudes, so I want to go ahead and do sort of somewhat of an update for The Walking Dead World Beyond. So we have now seen, spoiler warning, Jadis's first appearance in World Beyond in about episode 5, and then since then she's been a recurring character. Now I won't give away too much or spoil too much, but basically she is a CRM officer and seems like sort of like an investigator, an authority type of character. So like a a cop sort of, or officer of some kind here at the CRM. And so we've seen her be introduced now, and the way they've kind of worked it into World Beyond is that she was originally trained by Huck, who is one of the main characters in World Beyond. So we kind of get to see them be reunited. And I won't give away too much as far as the storyline goes after that, but basically it's set 6 years after the disappearance of Rick. So 6 years after Jadis and Rick leave in the helicopter, we now see Jadis return in World Beyond. Granted, you have to watch the first season and then, up to episode 5, so halfway through the second season, and she's appearing in World Beyond. I think there's only a few episodes left of World Beyond. They're doing like 10 episodes for the second season. So, that means she'll just be in like probably, 5 episodes or so of World Beyond, and that'll basically be it. But who knows, we might see her later on in the anthology series or something else if they decide to do something with any of these characters that are in World Beyond, since it kind of got canceled, or it was announced that it was only going to have the 2 set seasons. So after seeing her appearance in World Beyond, I like to see her in it. I think that she does add something to the series, but to see her come in almost right at the end, as you get to, if you have 20 episodes in total and she's only there for the last 5, then she's only there for a quarter of World Beyond's run, and she's there for the last quarter. So that's basically what it amounts to. I do think that her appearance in World Beyond so far has been pretty cool. She's lost the Jadis accent that she used to have, or the broken English that she used to speak in. So she's speaking normally. I do think that her name at one point was told to be Anne, but they're kind of going based on Jadis with her now. So pretty much so far as what I've seen, there are no mentions of Rick whatsoever from her. She's being worked into the storyline with the characters from World Beyond, and kind of investigating what the CRM is doing. Huck sort of, being kind of questionable with respect to her position in the CRM, and the kids as well too, kind of investigating and seeing what the CRM is actually up to. So it's okay to see her back. I do think that her appearance is kind of anticipated for Walking Dead fans because we wanted to know what happened with Rick. So to bring her into World Beyond is a little bit tricky. I think personally World Beyond, unfortunately, did not end up being a success. It did not end up intriguing enough fans to keep it going past a couple seasons. I think in the last episode they did. There was only 400,000 people who watched it, so it didn't even get 500,000 views. It got 0.4, U.S. viewers. Now you may have some more overseas and internationally. You may have some more on AMC Plus. I'm not certain, but yeah, it's not. It hasn't performed as well as some of us had hoped. And, from my perspective, in my opinion, it isn't as good as a lot of us had hoped for Walking Dead. But her being there does add something to it. If you want to see, you can kind of check it out. The problem is that she's worked into the storyline with the World Beyond survivors, so it's centered around them, and she kind of comes in as kind of like maybe a villain, maybe an ally type of situation, and it really doesn't have anything to do with Rick, aside from the fact that she left with Rick, and that was 6 years ago, up to the point where we're seeing her now. So the timelines for World Beyond is kind of somewhat similar with the time skips as it is to like the original Walking Dead series at this point. It still doesn't answer where Rick is. It doesn't really give us any information about that. All we know is that basically after Jadis left in the helicopter, she was trained and she joined the CRM and has been useful enough to them that she is still with them currently. Also a bit interesting is she is referred to as Warrant Officer Jadis Stokes, which is Gabriel Stokes. She was kind of with before with Gabriel. So I don't recall if they got married or not before she kind of left, but it is interesting that she has given that last name. I thought her name was switched to Anne at some point, but it's been a few years since we've seen her, so my memory's a bit foggy. I haven't watched those episodes for quite a while now. So she's sussing out, or she's inspecting this a possible suspected conspiracy against the CRM from Huck and the other, survivors in World Beyond. Quote, the actress said, "I know that Gimple had wanted to see Jadis continue in some form or another, and I think he just really found the right fit here, along with Matt, as they're exploring this new world." McIntosh told ComicBook.com in a stopover, "Worked great for me on the timing. We're all hoping that these movies happen as well, and they certainly will. But who wants to wait for that? Let's get on with it. Let's go to World Beyond and play with some awesome cast and crew and give fans some Rick hints and some old school Walking Dead world characters." So that's what she had to say about that. That's most of what I have for you in this video so far. She's still got a few episodes left here in World Beyond before it wraps up. We'll see if maybe the World Beyond crew has to kill her off at some point before the end of the series or something. Not exactly sure, but I am a bit disappointed that they used Jadis's appearance in World Beyond, because that would have been a cool appearance to see again if we had run into her either in The Walking Dead or even Fear or something else, or definitely the movies. Now, I would expect to see her in the movie or movies if they ever even do the Walking Dead movies. At this point, I am starting to get, if she's inspecting or she's a bit not certain about them and is inspecting them, I'm sort of not certain about these Walking Dead movies or even movie at this point, which we would all absolutely love to see. So her appearance has added something to World Beyond. It's given viewers a reason to watch World Beyond a little bit. But the unfortunate part is I feel like the surviving characters in World Beyond are so unrelatable that people are still not going to watch it anyway. Plus, World Beyond is almost over at this point anyway. So when it does finish, I will go through the episodes painfully, unfortunately, and watch the parts that she's in and do a recap for you guys to let you know so you can kind of see. So if you're not watching it, don't worry about it. I'll go through it and let you know. So far, that's where we're at with Jadis and World Beyond. Kind of a wasted reappearance of her, I feel like, because 400,000 people, that's it. That just means basically that almost nobody from Walking Dead is watching World Beyond to even see her appearance anyway. So it really doesn't add anything. Check out this shirt. I found this. I was cleaning. We got a new couch, and I found this shirt. This old school dudes, Walking Dead. This is from season 2. I got this shirt in season 2, so it's still okay and everything. All these years later, man. So that's pretty cool. Let's go into some of your guys' comments for this one. And if you got a chance to see Jadis and World Beyond, let me know what you think about it. That's what I got for you and my takeaways from it so far. Carlos S. said, Andrew Lincoln was seen on a beach in Barbados last weekend. He's not making the movies yet. Yeah, it's really frustrating there, Carlos, because they had said, even she said in that interview, movies, like as if there was going to be 3. At this point, I'm sitting here saying, can we get 1? Because I do not seriously think, even if they do one, that we're going to see 3 movies. I mean, if we were going to see a trilogy for Walking Dead, we should have already seen something. Also, what has happened, which had nothing to do with the movies and we did not expect, was I feel like the world situation has made it so that people are not as interested in this genre as they were before. I feel like maybe because, on the news, people are seeing stuff all the time, and you have all this constant, what we call fear prawn, in the news and being pumped out there into the psyches of the people, the public consciousness. The interest in terms of entertainment is just not with Walking Dead. It's not something that people want to escape from this pump over here, this fear pump over here, to come on and watch Walking Dead after. It's just not something people seem to want to do. So I think the numbers, the ratings and everything for Walking Dead also stays consistent with that viewpoint at this point from what I'm seeing online and what I'm hearing from you guys. So that is very unfortunate. I hope they can still get at least one movie done, but I would not be at all surprised if for some reason it didn't work out or they lost faith and decided not to do it. They are ending the original Walking Dead TV series, which at one point they said they were going to do 20 seasons of Walking Dead. Like, they made it sound like, oh yeah, we'll do it basically forever. And, we find out already that, hey, now that they're back to filming, this is going to be the final season, right? So, and by the way, Norman Reedus is going to be doing Boondock Saints 3, and he's got this other Western series he's going to do, and then supposedly there's a Daryl Carroll spinoff. So they want to keep Walking Dead going, but with different ideas and different spinoffs and stuff. But from the ratings I'm seeing, I just don't know if it's going to be, if it's going to make sense. I saw a Rolling Stone article yesterday, which is like, is it time to just end Walking Dead as a franchise, like overall? Like, is it time to just end it, period? And I hope that's not the case, but I do understand kind of the thinking behind that based on what we've been seeing. Jared M. said, will it affect the spinoff that Norman Reedus is doing, Boondock Saints 3? I don't think it will, because he can do that and then even do the spinoff after. And we don't know how many episodes the spinoff of Walking Dead is going to be per season. It may not be 16. It might only be 6 or 8 or something like that for a season run, or 10. Who knows what they do with Daryl Carroll spinoff. Or if they even do it, right? I mean, the movies, we were told we're going to do the movies, and then now it's like 3 years later since Rick left, and, like 4 years probably since he finished filming, or at least 3.5 years since he finished filming. And they haven't even started filming yet, which would be, even when they do start filming, it'll still be like a year or two after that when it releases, even if it's on streaming. So, you're talking 4, 5, 6 years, maybe 6 years by the time they get the first movie done. It's like, man, who knows if it doesn't even... I wouldn't be that shocked at this point if the movie didn't happen. I really wouldn't. Mad Guns Forever said, this heel turn from Strand in Fear the Walking Dead is not unexpected, as he was shown from season 1 to be a debased individual. That's what he said. Well, he's always been conniving. That's how Strand is. Even when Strand was on our good guy's side in Fear, way back when you had the Clarks and everything, he was still always crafty, and sometimes Madison would have to reel him back in because he'd get into trouble or he'd start doing something, and then she'd have to help him out. If you remember, like season 3 and such, he would get into like he's just shifty. He's always doing stuff like that. It's always the way he's been. But I feel like now at this point he's decided like that's what he needs to be 100%. And you can see from his perspective, Madison's gone, she's dead. Being a good person didn't work out for her, and so he's going the other way, and you can't really fault him for that. And unfortunately, him and Alicia, it sounds like, are not going to be able to. Maybe she can turn him around a little bit or bring him back a bit, but after we've seen what he's done recently, maybe not going to happen. Daryl Dixon said, World Beyond this week was way better than this episode of Fear the Walking Dead. It's funny to see people compliment Fear the Walking Dead and trash World Beyond. Well, basically, from what I've seen, Daryl, it doesn't seem like anyone's even watching World Beyond. That's, so far as I'm seeing that's what it looks like to me. It doesn't look like anyone's even watching it. I don't get any. I don't get almost. I got your comment here, but I don't get hardly any comments for it. It's not like anyone's asking for reviews for it. It's not like anyone's really talking about it. Like there's just nobody. People just don't like it. Is really all it comes down to. If I do videos trashing it, those will get more views because people agree. I think more with that it just didn't work. Peter Francis says we have villains in the Walking Dead. We've had villains in the Walking Dead universe that have charisma, like Negan and Teddy. Strand also has charisma and is so flamboyant as well. He's a great villain, man. I just get sad to see him doing some of the things that he's been doing because it's so, it's quite evil at this point. Yeah, so let's see. Oh, and Jared said that this last episode of Fear was directed by Lenny James, and the new character directed the last episode, and also an episode in World Beyond. So that's cool as well. Last one will be from Ryan Venter, who says, overall, I think this season has been pretty mediocre up to this point for Fear. This episode just barely nudges down. Episode 1 is the best episode of the season so far, in my opinion. The hard part about doing a character anthology series like they've turned the story into is having B-list characters try to carry a whole episode of subplot to an overarching story when they're just not that interesting on their own. By the time you're watching the third B-list character plot, you've forgotten about the first two. So I do understand what Ryan is saying. Yeah, I think like after The Walking Dead's first part of season 11 wrapped up, which with its 8th episode, as we're waiting for the wintertime in February to see the second part of last season, Fear came on and World Beyond was on too. World Beyond second season has been, as far as I'm concerned, dreadful, except for the Jadis stuff is good and some of the other stuff's watchable. But honestly, I reviewed almost every season of Z Nation, and Z Nation was better than World Beyond, and I'll say that like it was better. There was a lot of things, and people hated. They trashed that show. It had some fans, but they were like, "Oh, this is so bad, it's not even funny." Well, for me, I think World Beyond is worse than that. It's so bad to the point where no one's even paying attention to it, and that's the worst. Like if people are angry or they're outraged at something, that's usually not great. But if it's getting attention, that's better than where people are just so disinterested to where they're not even touching it. They're not even watching it. They're like, I'm not going to waste my time on that. So, yeah, that's what it is. But Fear has been okay so far this season for season 7. It hasn't been great. We've got a few episodes left of it. I think the developments with Strand as a villain are a very interesting way to go for the series and will be a highlight for the series. To see him fully develop as a villain and everything is going to be I think it's a great decision that they've done and really cool to do. But I agree with you on the sectioning off the episodes and having them focus on only one character or a couple characters. But what it does allow them to do, which is pretty obvious to see, is allows them to keep the budget down for each episode a lot. Because then each episode in Fear, if you only have 3 or 4 characters, you only have to have that crew to do the episode. It's cheap compared to having, I think, the whole team in there every time. If they had to do that, it might be too expensive to do, and then they might not want to do Fear anymore because maybe the budget's too high or something. So I think that's one of the reasons why they're doing it. They have a huge roster, and they get to just bring in a few each episode and do that. Maybe the episodes are not as good as if you have everybody in them. I think we could all agree on that. It'd be more interesting if you had more of our core cast there every time, but a lot cheaper to do probably, and that's got to be the reason for it. It's not always a bad thing because you get to spotlight people and focus, so it can be okay if it's done right, but I think it's a saving measure as well. Anyway, that's it for this video today, guys. Leave your comments below. What do you think about World Beyond? What do you think about Fear? How do you feel after The Walking Dead's first part of its last season wrapped, getting to see both World Beyond and Fear running at the same time? And from what I'm seeing, nobody really cares, unfortunately. Let me know what you guys think. Leave your comments below. That's it for this one. I'll see you again soon for another. As always, it's Trev, and I'm saying peace to the guys. See you soon.